Welcome to our studio, Crusade for Freedom, located in the heartland of America. Our desire is to be a symbol of hope by spreading the message of freedom to millions. We encourage everyone to visit our website at crusadeforfreedom.com. That's crusade, the number 4, freedom.com. Please be sure to subscribe to our website and like us on Facebook. We are so glad you stopped by today and hope you will keep coming back.
Welcome everyone to our 4-part series on John Dewey, the father of both the American and Russian education system following the Bolshevik Revolution. In part 3 of this series on John Dewey, we covered the fact that John Dewey became an apologist for the Bolshevik Revolution and advocated for the recognition of the new Russian communist dictatorship. This eventually led to the U.S. formally recognizing the newly formed Russian socialist government. In this video, part 4 of our series, we are going to take a look at Stalin's Great Purge. We are going to take a look at Stalin's show trials. We are going to see that Dewey finally realizes that Stalin is a madman as he formed the Dewey Commission to defend Trotsky against Stalin's criminal charges, but was eventually murdered by an assassin mobilized by Stalin. We are going to see that Stalin and his supporters turned on Dewey and demonized his educational work for them, even though they had previously praised his work.
He had a withered arm, webbed toes, a pockmarked face, and grew up hating. He seized control of one of the world's largest nations and murdered 40 million of its inhabitants. Even after death, he dominated the lives of his countrymen. Not until August 1991 did a determined Soviet people rise up and exorcise his malignant influence. The hands of this man were the bloodiest in history. The man himself was the monstrous and inevitable product of the Communist Party and State, founded in Russia in 1917 on the principle that the end justifies the means. Pitiless, cunning, and cynical, he mocked the value of human life, proclaiming that when one person dies, it is a tragedy, but when a million die, it is a statistic. Never has one man held such absolute power over so many and used it with such extravagant brutality as Joseph Vissarionovich Djugashvili, the monster who named himself Stalin. Down these steps to the echoing execution cellars below, they went by the thousands, men and women, the elite and the obscure, escorted to their deaths by the secret police of Stalin's Soviet Union. Above these cellars there stands in central Moscow an historic building, the Lubyanka, which houses the organization that efficiently and relentlessly advances the cause of the Communist Party. Its original name was the Cheka. The Cheka's first chief was Felix Dzerzhinsky, a friend and colleague of Lenin's. In Dzerzhinsky's hands, the Cheka becomes the gravedigger of all who oppose the party's will. The brutality of Russia's revolution and civil war sweeps away moral values. The rule of force replaces the rule of law. Justice comes out of the barrel of a gun. The Cheka is everywhere, enforcing the revolution. Prisons bulge. Trials such as this are a rarity. The civil war ends and Dzerzhinsky softens. Perhaps because he is human or simply weary, he orders that the overflowing prisons be emptied of political prisoners. In future, only those who present a threat to Soviet power will be targeted. Then, as if to make further amends, Dzerzhinsky becomes head of the War Orphans Commission. The civil war has left hundreds of thousands of children orphaned and homeless. Dzerzhinsky organizes a massive Save the Children effort. Having slain the parents, this paradoxical man will now comfort their children. They are fed and clothed, relocated, rehoused, even barbered. The young, ambitious Stalin sees the Cheka as his key to power. Control it he must. He cultivates Dzerzhinsky. And the head of the Cheka agrees to back him. In the Moscow summer of 1926, doubt strikes Dzerzhinsky. In a personal letter, he writes, "There has appeared among us a gravedigger of the revolution." Dzerzhinsky senses what danger the party faces if Stalin comes to power. Fortunately for Stalin, Dzerzhinsky is struck down by a seeming heart attack. One of many such fortunate coincidences for Stalin. Dzerzhinsky's death portrait is painted. Stalin grieves for his dead friend. Also grieving are the men whom Stalin, as the party's administrator, has quietly planted in key Cheka positions. Dzerzhinsky's funeral brings forth the party leaders, among them many of Stalin's rivals. Trotsky, marked for death. Kamenev and Bukharin, both with an appointment in the Lubyanka cellars. Stalin will say when. Also present is Genrik Yagoda. He will in time become Dzerzhinsky's replacement.
So at this point, Stalin begins hand-picking his political assassins inside the Cheka. And it's very important to understand that at this point, Dewey is advocating for the recognition of Russia and the new government that's in place under the Bolsheviks. And he succeeds in leading the State Department to recognize the new Bolshevik government dictatorship.
As Stalin's influence grows, he will elbow out Dzerzhinsky's men and install Yagoda. The Soviet economy slides into recession when Stalin tinkers with it, and Yagoda gets a new kind of assignment: whitewash Stalin, find scapegoats, and crucify them. In the process, rid Stalin of some dissenters, The victims, all intellectuals, are brought to trial. Stalin loathes intellectuals. The case against them, as the judges well know, is fictitious. Their crime, sabotage. High treason. One of the accused takes the stand. He knows what the verdict will be. The confessions they read have been bludgeoned and gouged from them by Yagoda's interrogators. They confess appalling crimes to a rapt audience in lurid detail. The sentence is death. The trial, a flawless success, is a rehearsal orchestrated by Yagoda for the great show trials to come. Yagoda is lionized by the press. His organization gets a new name, the NKVD. By the 30s, Stalin foresees a power crisis. There are mutterings among the old guard. He must act. Against the imposing backdrop of the new Baltic Canal, Stalin launches his plot, a sting of such monstrous proportions as to dwarf its stage. Here, he assembles the principal players, himself, Yagoda, and Sergei Kirov, a key Politburo member. Kirov is Stalin's good friend and likeliest successor, but within weeks, Kirov is a corpse. Stalin mourns. This man, Nikolaev, has shot Kirov dead at his office door. Kirov's bodyguards were conspicuously absent. Stalin, the picture of grief.
Now we'll take a look at how Stalin consolidates power as he conducts show trials to get rid of his political enemies and rivals and intimidates the population through imprisonment in the Gulag and assassinations.
To avenge Kirov's murder, and with this the great terror descends on the nation. Vast, non-existent plots against the state are fabricated by the NKVD. Thousands, then hundreds of thousands are implicated, with their families and friends. Now Stalin reveals the ultimate purpose of the sting. He sets up his political rivals. Two of Lenin's associates are framed as ringleaders of the Kirov murder plot, Kamenev and Zinoviev. Tortured, they confess in desperation and are dragged to the cellars. Zinoviev grovels before his executioner. "On your feet, Grigory," says Kamenev. "Let's die like men." And die they do. The following week, Soviet children are taught a new catechism. Stalin, their nation's father, loves and protects them. That same day, Stalin orders the secret execution of 5,000 suspects. Yagoda prepares the list, and the work begins. Stalin removes himself from the scene of death. He takes a working holiday in the resort town of Sochi. There he contemplates his next move. Yagoda, he suspects, is losing his zeal. Yagoda must go.